I don't wanna waste a day. I don't wanna waste a night. I don't wanna fade away, no way, no. I don't wanna say goodbye. I don't wanna waste a day. I don't wanna waste a night. I don't wanna fade away, no way, no. This is where I gave my life. Sitting in the stars and watching you. You gotta ride the tide, go with the moon.
Good afternoon and welcome to Season 3 on Chatbox with Sam. Today I had the honour of interviewing Michael Horse. Michael is an actor and writer. He has been in the industry for a long time. Good afternoon, Michael Horse. How are you?
I'm fine. I got my union statement the other day. It's been 45 years I've been in the union. I never wanted to be an actor. I got into it all by accident. I started as just taking care of horses on movies, and then I was a pretty bad rodeo rider. And one day somebody paid me to fall off my horse like I was shot, and I went, I fall off, I get paid. I can do that. Staying on's been the hard part. But, I was running my art studio. You know, basically that's what I do. I come from a long line of Indigenous artist family members, and I was running my art studio from an agent. And 1980, she came down. She says, "You want to be Tonto in the Lone Ranger?" In the remake they did in 1980. Went, "No, I'm an American Indian movement. I don't know if I want to be Tonto." And I knew Jay Silverhills really well. I knew his kids, and I would go over to his house. He would tell me wonderful stories, and I go, "No, I'm not interested." And then she told me how much they were going to pay me, and went, "Oh, Kimosabi." So that started my whole career.
As Tonto in The Lone Ranger. Yes, that's awesome. That is epic. You know, even me as a child watching that with the old black and white movies with the original version. But, you know, it was a big thing growing up, you know.
Even though that was a stereotypical image, and that was the first time we really saw somebody like Jay. There was a dignity that shined under that character, and you know, it was we went, "Oh yeah, that's one of us."
Oh, so how was it being on set with that? I know you're very good with horses, but how was the feeling?
Oh, it was interesting. You know, like I said, you're dealing with a not so popular image with Indigenous people, but you're also dealing with an Indigenous icon, and the directors were very producers bent over backwards. They said, "Look, we're going to make sure you have a dignified image this time." Not a very good film, not well written. It was interesting for me to realize that a film is only going to be as good as it's written. It can't get better than that, you know. It's only on the page. Sometimes I'll do something and my wife goes, "Why were you good in this and not in this?" And I said, "Well, I'm reading somebody's words." You know, I used to see these actors and I go, "Man, that guy's just so smart and so brilliant." I would meet them and they're dumber than a rock, and I realized they're just saying this wonderful, wonderful words that somebody puts in their mouth. But it's got to be on the page.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And then Twin Peaks was even a huge hit in England, you know, with David Lynch.
David and I go back since 1970.
Yes.
Russ Tamblyn and Dean Stockwell were both, you know, in David's a group of people, and they brought him by one day. They were my neighbors, and he left, and I said, "Who's that guy?" And they said, "He's a filmmaker." And they showed me the film The Grandma, and I went, "Okay." But we changed the way that people process television and film, especially television. I mean, we knew we were doing something special. But 25 years later, everything has Twin Peaks' DNA all over it.
Yes. And
people even acknowledge it. They go, "Oh yeah, we're paying homage to," you know. And David it's all about art with David. He's the sweetest, kindest man. He doesn't have dark things, and it's kind of like working with Jimmy Stewart with Salvador Dali's intestines. And a great native character. You know, this guy lived in both worlds, and I held some mirrors up to some stereotypes and made fun of some. And if I never did anything else in my career, this is my best moments in film. You know?
It is. Well, you know what I loved about Twin Peaks? I love the little guy too, because you knew when he was coming on, he was like he was like the mystery, the storyteller, you know.
Yeah.
And I loved watching that when I was growing up. And it was so unusual. It was different because it was unusual in a beautiful way, because there was a mystery behind it, and the music and everything. And that little guy, I'm trying to think of his name, the little actor.
I'm getting a senior moment on that too. He was Michael. Michael was his name.
Michael.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we opened up doors. Even David Chase, that did The Sopranos, said David showed us that there were no limits for television.
No, it sort of opened up a new genre of epicness, you know.
I mean, I still don't get a lot of it. The fans will go, "What happened in this scene and that?" I go, "I don't know." And Frederick Forrest, he was supposed to be the original sheriff, but he was busy, and he was on the last one we did, and when he leaned over and he goes, "Michael, I don't get this." I go, "I don't get most of it either. You're not going to get it. Just enjoy the ride." And after that, he was having so much fun. But there's nobody like David. It's just such a joy and an honor to just be on his artistic palette.
Oh God, everybody loves Twin Peaks.
Yeah, they do. When we were filming the last time we were in downtown Los Angeles, and people were coming by, directors and writers, and they said, "Look, we don't want to disturb Mr. Lynch. We just want to tell him thank you."
Oh, that's lovely. And I'm sure he's a very humble guy. I don't know him, never spoke to him. But I'm sure if somebody was to talk to him, he'd be very kind. He seems a very soft-natured person.
He's the most angry I ever saw him was, he has an old megaphone kind of thing, and John Belushi had gone off script, and he goes, "Mr. Belushi, do you need to go to the principal's office?"
That's funny.
It's really funny. He directed me one time. He goes, "Okay, Michael, do it again. This time good."
Oh, bless him.
You know, we have a lot of similarities. We're both artists. You know,
Yes.
and during the COVID, you know, I mean, we all missed making films, but we were also glad to just be left alone in the studio doing art.
Right. And you've played in quite a lot. I mean, your IMDb is full. I know you're a great stuntman.
They leave out a lot of stuff. They put the really bad stuff like Knight Rider on it, and they leave out other things.
Well, the House of Cards was a big one. You were on House of Cards and Passenger and American Stray. You know, you've been in a lot of.
And I'm still working. I just finished a wonderful series called Motherland Fort Salem.
Really?
It's I did the third season of it. It's about these witches that made a deal during the Revolutionary War to work with the United States Army, and it sounds really corny, and it was just wonderful.
I love that.
A 400-year-old witch, and it was a joy. And then I did Claws, and you know, my agent. My career is an experiment in bizarre booking. You know, they'll like Young Guns was written with me in mind, and then they'll give it to me. But my agent will call, go, "We want you to be on something about a nail salon and the mob." And I went, "Huh?" Better read it because it's really clever.
Really, it's got like a mystery behind it. But I love that about the witches one. I love anything to do with witches,
it's really
wolves,
good.
Vampires.
It's called Motherland Fort Salem. It is really, really good.
Okay, where can people see that, sir?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Hulu, yeah.
It's on Hulu. And if people want to reach out to you, they can also reach out to you on Facebook, and you've got an Instagram, and you do have your own and you have your amazing
I have a
stuff.
Facebook under another name of like 5 people. My wife goes, "You want an Instagram?" I go, "Not really." She goes, "Get one." And then I go, "Look, me and Sting, I have 175 likes." She goes, "Your cat Carlos has almost 4,000. I went, "Well, that's pretty humbling."
Right? I don't have that many.
Mostly the Twin Peaks fans, they're wonderful fans. It's not about fame. It's about art and being in David's world. But,
in David Lynch. Yeah, he's on Twitter right now doing this Happy Friday thing, you know. So he's like, "It's Friday." He says this thing on Twitter. "It's Friday," and I'm like, "Hi, Happy Friday." I don't know the gentleman.
Does the weather report? I'll call every now and then. I'll call Sabrina, their producer, and I go, "What's David doing?" "Oh, he's making lamps."
Lamps.
He's in The Fabelmans playing John Huston. and he's just amazing.
Well, you know what, sir? You're amazing. And you know what else is amazing? Your jewelry. I've been to your website. Yeah, Michael has his own website with his own jewelry, and I saw the like the end of a spear, and your art is quite astounding.
Well, that's basically what I am. I'm an artist. I'm a traditional painter. I do a type of painting called ledger art, which is a traditional art, and a jeweler. And I've been doing that ever since I was maybe 14, 15 years old. And that's my passion. And our website is gatheringtribes.com. And you can see we have other native artists on there, and then there's a whole section of my paintings and my jewelry. There's not a lot on now because I've been moving. I live two places. I live back east. I go back and forth. So, but there'll be a lot more coming. But no, it's my favorite thing to do is sit and I cut my own stones. I get stones from them. Yeah, I get stones from the miners. Cut my own turquoise, and some of my tools have been in my family almost 100 years old. If somebody wants to duplicate my work, they'd have to duplicate all the tools that make my little marks in the silver are made from old pieces of files and drill rod and old horseshoe nails. And so
the thing is, people they can try and duplicate something, but when someone is passionate about something with their art, they can't really duplicate that, because what you put into that when you're making it is what you put into it. No one can duplicate that, sir.
Yeah, it's I'll sing traditional songs when I'm making. It's really funny though. Somebody will go, "What does this represent?" I go, "Doesn't represent anything. What's the story? It's my phone bill."
Your phone bill?
Yeah, not everything has a story to it.
No, something just is, right?
Yeah.
So, Michael, if you're going to inspire, the younger generation, what would you say to them?
Oh, it's really, I've been an activist my whole life. My wife's a big native and environmental activist, and I got a little disappointed in a lot of people not stepping up. But these young kids, they realize this is their future, and they're not looking for any one particular leader. Especially these young women, young Native women. I've never seen so many strong young Native women rise up to the occasion. Fighting for the future of themselves, for their children, for all the things that live upon Mother Earth. Just to not be intimidated by what they tell you can't do.
Right.
I've been telling people, "Oh, you can't get into the movies," or I do a lot of cartoon voices, which is my favorite thing, animation. People say, "Oh, you can't get you can't get into that." And I went, "I can't." So, and then I started to ask, "Can I do this? Can I do that?" And now I have a career making animation voices. But
that's
no,
awesome.
just don't be intimidated by it, and to pay your dues, to study. I tell you, young people, they say, "Well, how do I get into acting?" Take acting lessons in school.
Right.
Do theater.
Yeah.
So if you do get a break, I've seen a lot of young people get a break, but they have nothing to back it up. Right. I mean, I stumbled into this business with absolutely no training, and now I got to watch like 15, 20 years of bad performance. It didn't really click in until I was in my 40s. Oh, okay, just relax and don't stumble over the furniture. And
don't stumble over the furniture.
But if you get an opportunity, be prepared. And also, especially a lot of young Native kids, they don't know that there's other opportunities in show business. I tell them there's set designers, and there's camera people and audio people, and especially with this new media, of the internet, there's so many possibilities that are popping up. Oh, I know I have some friends that are just great writers, and they just pounded scripts for 15 years, and somebody goes, "Yeah, this is really good. We'll do this."
Right. So that's good. So you never know. So what actually inspired you to become an actor? What was your inspiration for that?
It was a lot better than physical work.
That's a very good answer.
It was a lot of fun. I was a musician for years. That's what I did. I was a fiddle and bass player. I went back and forth. I played with a lot of pretty well-known rock and rollers and country people. And never really just got into that by accident. Never really wanted to do that. Did it for about 4 or 5 years and got tired of being on the road. Never wanted to be an actor,
No.
but it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you've
A lot of
enjoyed
fun.
the experience, and you still
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Very, very seldom has it been a bad experience for me.
Right.
I've learned, most of the fellow, if you show up and you're humble and you listen, most of the older, really talented actors will help you out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some few bad people, but there's bad people in every business, and bad
Mm-hmm.
people in the
Yeah.
phone business and
Wall
high
Street.
tech and Wall Street, and one into some jerks wherever you go. But
There is,
a lot of
isn't there?
people, a lot of people are really nice. Some I've
Yeah.
been a lot, and it's a hard, when people, especially young people, when they see how hard people work to make a film. I mean,
Right.
people are out there working 14 hours a day, and
Right.
I mean, they go, this is a lot of work.
And there's a lot of work behind the scenes too, as I know.
Yeah,
I've met you through Tony A. Angelo with Safe
yeah.
Harbor Films. I mean, that's took a while, but we're getting there now.
He's an old friend of mine. He says, Michael, we got this thing. We want you to be the vice president of the universe. And I went, oh God, that sounds like a lot of responsibility.
He has got so much respect for you. I was on the phone with him just before I got on the interview. He goes, "Tell Michael I'm sending my love." So yeah, he's always talking about you. Huge respect for you. And
I've been doing a lot of like sci-fi films lately.
That's awesome.
I'm the old guy that goes, don't dig there. Don't dig in
Really?
the burial ground, or something's going to come out you're not going to like. And my wife goes, "Did they ever listen?" No, I like
No.
to do a film just once where the native guy goes, "Don't dig in the burial ground." And okay, and they leave.
Right? And
Yeah,
that's the thing. I was talking about that about horror the other day. Why go down the stairs into the
yeah,
basement when the lights are off? That's the last thing I'd be going. I'd be in the car going down the street, and that would be the end of the
oh
movie.
yeah, native people. First time we go in the house and somebody yells through the wall, "Get out! We're gone." Okay,
Right?
I'm leaving.
Because you're smart. I'm always getting out the sage. I have the sage and the wheatgrass. I strongly believe in smudging in my house. And I know it's an old native tradition. And I think it's wonderful. I think you open the windows and I sage, and then I close the windows, and then because you have to fill in that negativity, and then I get the wheatgrass. And so and my father has a huge respect for the native people, and so do I. And
Well, we were all tribal people at one time.
yes,
If you go back and you look at Celtic culture, and I mean, we were all tribal people until we were colonized.
right.
And if you ever wondered what Native American food is like, it's a lot like British food. You cook it till it doesn't have a vitamin left in it. First time I ate mushy peas, I go, "This is like mom's cooking."
Oh, you like mushy peas too? That's my
Yeah.
favourite. I love them. I love mushy
I
peas.
lived in Cornwall for a while.
Did you?
Yeah, I went over all these cities that, I quit school when I was really young, and all
Right.
these cities I heard about, London and Paris, and I hate it. And I was in London for a while. I didn't like it, so I just
I
started
don't either.
traveling.
It's
And
too busy.
I went up to Cornwall where they have all this wonderful, like, the most beautiful gardens, and everybody
Yes.
was so sweet and so nice, and the greatest dairy products in the whole world. You can get decent cheese now, but I mean, this is back in the early '70s. I go, what do people in the United States do to their dairy products?
And their bacon. No, but it's true. We have the clotted cream because I grew up
Yeah,
going to Cornwall quite a lot, Padstow and Newquay, and you've got the ocean there. Obviously, the oceans aren't as beautiful as the ones in America. It's very brown and dirty, but you have all the backwash coming in. But it is very beautiful. It's quiet. You've got the little country pubs. You
yeah.
can you can have a beer or a stout, or you can have and the children are allowed to go in. It's very family orientated, and you can have your fish chips, mushy peas, and or anything. You have the pub meals. So you enjoyed going round there. So how long was you actually in Cornwall?
I was in Cornwall. I stayed there for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Wherever I went, Spain, Italy, wherever they had farmers or fishermen, I
right.
liked the place. People were always nice, and You know,
Down
I
to
didn't care
earth.
for Paris. I didn't care for Rome. I liked Florence. I thought Florence was beautiful.
Mm.
But basically, I wanted to get out into the countryside.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And luckily, when I was living by Stratford upon Avon, you know, you got the city, which is Birmingham, which is 2 hours from London. But then I could drive 15, 20 minutes into Henley and Arden or Stratford, Shakespeare's country. I was only like 15 minutes away. And that's the one thing I miss about England, the quiet countrysides. I live now in Auburn, California, by Forest Hill
Yeah.
Bridge. I live where it's
Oh,
nice and quiet.
oh, I have a lot of friends. I just did a little film up there in Auburn for the Miwok people. We just did this. Oh God, we did it about 3 or 4 months ago. My friend that directed it, he has a big place up there in the hills up there. But yeah, you know, I have a lot of friends up in
Auburn.
yeah, in that
Yeah,
area.
they filmed Phenomenon here, and Kurt Russell filmed something in Newcastle, and Phenomenon with John Travolta. But we have the Forest Hill Bridge, which is the biggest bridge, and I live right by there, and it is very pretty. You got the foothills, and it's a very beautiful place to film. I hope more people come here and film because it is very
Yeah,
beautiful. You know, I've got Tahoe only an hour away.
yeah,
I wish I'd have known you were here then. My goodness, I would have come and had a cup of tea with you.
yeah. If I would have known, I would have given you a shout out. Yeah.
Right, well, next time you're here, let me know. What charities, out of all the charities there are in the world, Mr. Horse, what one would you advocate for and why?
I'm not a big person of charity organizations.
Okay.
I like to find out when there's a disaster, or especially on the reservations.
Mm-hmm.
I call people. I said, you know, can we take some canned goods, or can we take some clothes to the people?
That's donation. That's
Yeah,
charity. That's
when they did Standing Rock, was the big occupation about the pipelines up in the Dakotas.
Mm-hmm.
I raised money for people to get firewood.
Oh,
I raised money myself and with other people to get gas money for them to go. You know, I'm a little leery of big charities. You know, like I said, it's some people, you know, when they're going to things and they need some gas money, they need some winter clothes, they
right.
need to fix their car. You know, there's a funeral, somebody might need some money to go attend. That's where I kind of try and put my, you know, I don't call it charities, but that's where I try and put my help too.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking what to advocate for. You know what? I think that's awesome as well. Very kind and plus it's helping the people that don't get recognized usually, you know.
Yeah.
So that's really great. I'm very proud of you for doing that. That's awesome.
Well, it's, you know, I'm not that nice a guy. You just got to do it. You know,
I know you got to do it.
you just
You
got
got
to do it.
you got to be kind. You have to be
Yeah.
kind. It's free.
Well,
Free
that's
is
my whole kind of philosophy of life. I'm on this big, huge planet, just whirling through this huge, huge universe of many universes. So it's kind of like we and don't be an asshole. You know.
right. Yeah, it's not that difficult. Unfortunately, some people find it very difficult.
You know, all the tribal places, most of I've been all around the world.
Hmm.
Most of the ceremonies have to do with gratitude. And if you're a grateful person, you're less apt to be an ass.
Right.
You know, some people don't even know. Some of the elders, the traditional people, they go, well, we're not quite sure, but thank you and please don't stop. You know.
Yeah, it'd be nice for them to be acknowledged for the people they are, their names.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think what I know of the native, we have a. My father took me to a fair up in Grass Valley, and there were some native people, and they were doing music. It was beautiful,
Oh,
the pipe, and beautiful hair,
you
absolutely
went to
beautiful.
you went to what they call a big time
Is that
up
what
in
it was?
Grassville. Yeah, they call it a big
Excuse my
time.
ignorance.
That's their, well, a lot of people they don't know, you know, people, but that's they have what's called big time, and that's where they in grass. That's where they get together and they, you know, especially the traditional people of that area. You
Yes,
know,
it was beautiful. The music
yeah,
was beautiful. It's very spiritual, and I love that.
you know, what I know about early English culture and Scottish culture and Irish culture. But we were all tribal people.
Yeah.
We all realized that we were connected to the earth.
Yes.
You know?
Well, I think the native people realised that more than the British people, really, because the British people were going by class distinction, and that was a shame, you know.
Well, early on, you were all tribal people, though. From what
Yeah, in the beginning, the
yeah,
Celts, Danes, Saxons, and
yeah,
Vikings.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all tribal people. Yeah.
Music. How has music influenced your life?
I'm a big fan. I'm almost a kind of a musicologist.
Are you?
When I would go back home, I grew up in Los Angeles, but Grandma would take me back to Arizona. And there wasn't a lot of electricity. Wasn't a lot of like records and all that, but everybody played music. Everybody sat around, played music. So, and um, like I said, I left home pretty young, and I traveled, hitchhiked across the United States a couple of times. I didn't want to take the guitar because it was too heavy, so I took the violin. And these truck drivers would, they'd leave you off in a cornfield and get another ride for 4 hours. So I'd sit and play that fiddle, and I got really good at it. But yeah,
Oh.
but
Did you
you know,
sing?
oh yeah, I sang. Yeah, I did that. Like I said, I played with some pretty big people, and I just got tired of. I don't like playing the same stuff, and I don't like, I don't like being on the road that much. It sounds very exciting, but after a while, it gets pretty, one hotel room after another.
Yeah, it's
But
good to.
I still like the music. I
Yeah.
had a place. I lived in Topanga Canyon, a place up near between Santa Monica and Malibu, and there were a lot of musicians that lived up there, and everybody would come over to the house and play. Neil Young would come up there and play, and um, Big Mama Thornton showed up one time, and a lot of early '60 groups, and just sit around and play just for the love of playing.
How awesome! It's very
I like
therapeutic.
my kids went through my record collection one time, and they had a strange look on their face. They go, "What's the matter with you?" And they go, "Do you have anybody that isn't dead?"
Oh no! Yeah, I'm still here. I'm alive. I'm kicking.
Yeah, I like even I would have discussions with my kids, and they go, "Oh, you just like the music of your generation." No,
No.
I like 40s and
Mm-hmm.
40 big band music, and
Glenn Miller.
yeah, Glenn Miller and um,
I love Bing Crosby
oh
and
yeah,
Frank Sinatra,
Frank
the Brat
Sinatra and all
Pack.
those guys, yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of early bluegrass music. I came out of bluegrass. You
Oh,
know, that's what I played when I was a kid. And that were my peers from the Grateful Dead. They were bluegrass musicians, and the group The Byrds, and Chris Hillman and Bernie Ledden. They were all bluegrass musicians when I was young.
right. Music is music is universal.
Yeah,
No matter what. I think it can change the mood of a room. Especially if there's an awkward silence or something, or there's an atmosphere. You play music and it will bring people together. So
it,
even in tribal, they have the music.
I mean that's what with all that early rock and roll that came out of the black communities. That's the first time it actually fused the young white kids with the black community.
Right.
That was something that they had in common. And they say that people that have Alzheimer's, they
Mm-hmm.
say that songs, they will remember songs and incidents that happen when that song at that particular time it triggers something in the brain.
In long-term memory.
Yeah, I get so upset in the school system now. They're just dropping all the fundings for art and music, and especially music unlocks the part of the brain that works the math and sciences. My daughter was a big kind of thug rocker and all tattooed. One of my daughters, and she kind of had to reinvent herself. And she was going back to school now. She's at the University of Kansas in Lawrence. She's going to be an elementary school music teacher. And
Oh,
I said, you're going to give kids the gift of music. I said, anything that you ever did or anything I ever did is not going to be as important as what you're going to do with these kids. And, finally the light went on her and she goes, yeah, I'm going to give kids music.
that's beautiful though.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. You know, I can see why you're proud of her. And teachers,
Yeah.
Yes.
She got me living with my 13-year-old grandson and working part-time and going to, so I help her out as much as I can, and
Right.
going to school. She's getting like straight A's and like algebra and trigonometry, and she wasn't a very great student.
Oh.
One of my girls, I knew my stepdaughter or help raise. I knew she was going to be an attorney from the time she was like 5. I go, eat your vegetables. There's starving people in the world. She goes, name one. You don't know anybody. I'll mail them the broccoli.
Yeah, there's not many kids that will eat broccoli, or they're just totally against vegetables. I don't know why. I love them. I've always loved them.
My grandson is a vegetarian. One day he was eating some chicken nuggets, and when he was maybe 6 or so, and my daughter said, that's like Grandpa's chickens, and he went, no, he's vegetarian. He'll eat a bowl of vegetables like it's ice cream. God bless him.
Oh, that's awesome. I love vegetables. Yeah, they're my favorite too.
He's a good kid. He's kind. I don't care what he does in life. He's a kind boy. And that's most important to me,
Kindness is most important to me too. I'm very empathic because it takes a lot more to be mean to someone than to be kind. It takes a lot more energy, I think.
It's the first thing when I see somebody I admire, like a famous musician or an artist. The first thing I want to find out is, are they kind? Like, I'll work on a set with somebody, and I want to see, how do you treat the craft service people that bring you the food, and how do you treat the makeup people, and the people that roll up the cords after you get through work. And I want to see how you treat these people. How
you treat the waitress staff that serve you a meal.
Yeah.
And the people that in the stores. That's
really important to me.
It is.
I'm not so impressed so much by talent. I'm impressed by kindness and integrity.
You've hit the nail on the head with the integrity. Me too.
Yeah.
Integrity is very important.
I was trying to explain to my kids about integrity. It was kind of hard to explain, and they got older, they get it now,
Right. Yeah, it's when they're younger, they're very absorbent, children are. But I think to set an example, you have to be the example.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I'm a much better grandparent than I was a father.
Aren't we all?
I wasn't a really bad father, but I'm a really good grandpa.
Well, no, as parents, we're learning more. And then by the time the grandchildren, I've got 3 grandchildren. They just left this morning. And then when the grandchildren come along, when you're a parent, you're working and you're trying to provide, because I'm a single parent. I've been for 17 years. You're trying to provide, and you don't have the time. You do, but you don't. You're juggling work and home life and everything else. And when you become a grandparent, you have more time, and that's what it is. It's because of time. Yeah. I think that's the difference. Yeah, You've got the more time.
I'm a lot more patient of a person than I was when I was younger.
Oh, aren't we all? I think we all grow patience, It's like, and you become more humble, and the little things in life, like the little irritations that used to bother you, just don't bother you anymore as you get older, because you learn life's too short, right?
Way too short.
Way too short. Let's just enjoy it.
Yeah.
This isn't a rehearsal. We've only got one chance.
Have you seen the series Res Dogs?
I have not.
Oh, you have to see Res Dogs.
Okay.
It's what it's really like to be on a reservation. Some friends of mine put it together. They had a sketch group for a long time.
Where can I find that, sir?
If you just Google it, I think it's on FX. I think it's on FX or AMC, one of those two. It is wonderful. It's just full of wonderful native humor. And when they did it, I thought, well, I don't know if non-native people people everywhere are like it. The people in the industry are going crazy because this is the first time you really, you either see this wise indigenous old elder, or you see the warlike people. Nothing about humor, about we're funny people. We're really funny people. But yeah, it's really, 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 really interesting. People always ask me, what would I like to see dealing with Native culture? It's always like Last of the Mohegans and Thunderheart. what happened in 1920, 1930, and 1940. Very interesting time for indigenous people. I mean, it's starting to come out in all the atrocities of when they put us into the boarding schools, which
Right.
was not that long ago. And Scorsese's doing that film, The Flower Moon, which is all about all these murders that happened in 1920, 1930 on the reservations in Oklahoma.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's an interesting book and going to be a hell of a movie.
Well, it was one of the most unrecorded genocide in history
Oh yeah, and
before
still
in
is.
with the pilgrims. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still, I
Mm.
mean, it's happening all, it's happening in Canada, it's happening in South America. It's, indigenous people, island people are just suffering from climate change. They're
Yeah.
going to be the first ones in. They didn't do any of it. They didn't cause any of it.
No, simple
Yeah,
lives, simple people.
don't take more than you need.
Right. In
And if
yeah,
you have
but
more than you need, to give it to somebody else that does need it.
right. Life could be so simple, but we insist on making it complicated. So if this was the last time, Michael, you were ever going to speak to anyone or a crowd of people, what would you say?
It's a very good question. I would just say, just find as much joy in life as you possibly can, because you don't know what's coming.
Oh, and have you got any last words for the audience?
Yeah, here's a Twin Peaks thing. Twin Peaks people will get that.
Twin Peaks.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Okay,
Thank you so much, and I've really appreciated
all you
speaking with
all
you.
you all you fans out there, look at my wife's site. It's gatheringtribes.com. See my jewelry and my paintings. Okay.
And his music. Thank you so much, Michael Horse.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Blessings comes out to you and your wife. Thank
Thank you.
you. Good night.
I don't wanna waste